Hello and welcome to the Field Ready Podcast, where I, Andrew Crabtree, guest host by interviewing Jim Robinson, the host of the podcast.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. The objective of every product management team is to improve the product portfolio.
If you're farming today, you have to be excited about what's going on.
Favorite new advancement in this year's Corn Classic?
That's like asking somebody who their favorite kid is, really. So, but.
And so we really want to get to know what is exciting in seeds right now.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Field Ready Podcast, where I'm going to guest host by interviewing the full-time host, Jim Robinson. I'm Andrew Crabtree. Jim, thanks for being on your show.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
Fun stuff. So, Jim, we had I don't know if you heard last week's episode or not, but we had a fantastic interview with your dad. Mm-hmm. And your dad, Rob, talked about, I guess, this, what I kind of describe as this annual pilgrimage where he goes out and looks and touches and feels corn.
Yes.
That's a little unique for a CEO of a seed corn company to be so obsessed with going out and seeing everything and touring the country.
Oh, he loves going out and looking at product. I don't think he would be in the seed industry if he wasn't able to do that every year.
And I think that, I mean, it's probably something that goes back to even his childhood, I'd say.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he grew up in and around corn and the research program that started in the early 70s. And so he's been looking at corn for a long time. It's just grown to love it. In fact, we were still at J.C. Robbins Seed Company, he was one of the few people that could identify each inbred just from looks alone by walking through the nurseries. So he has an eye for corn and he loves doing it.
And I'm assuming that's something that you have a similar story, right? I mean, you were around the seed business as a kid, and I think maybe did you get some of that passion from your dad?
I've spent my fair amount of time in the cornfield, and I did get that passion, and I take my kids out to the plots as well, and so trying to build that in, and where it may not be genetic, it can be learned.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. So one of the things we talked about with your dad was this kind of what I call this pilgrimage, and I feel like maybe you've done a similar pilgrimage this year, but instead of looking at commercial products, you're looking more at advancements and kind of the future of the lineup.
Absolutely. We have a kind of an advancement process we go through the year, and in order to do that, we have to be able to see, touch, feel, and measure all the different pre-commercial products, and that can come either from our internal trialing, where we have small plot trialing of our own, where we're putting our own development products, some products from licensors and things of that sort, all the way through to working with our licensors and walking through their own trials as well. So we spend a couple of weeks during the fall taking a look at those, and then all summer looking at our own trials as well.
So where have you been this fall? Where has this journey taken you?
Ooh, so this journey has taken me all the way from kind of west central Nebraska up through eastern Nebraska, northern Iowa, central Minnesota, northern Minnesota, and North Dakota, as well as chunks of South Dakota all the way out to central South Dakota. And then we have John King, who's out in Ohio, who's been in across Ohio, Michigan, and parts of eastern Indiana.
So is part of I'm assuming that the geography is a little wider than it's been in the past, right?
Just a little bit wider, yeah. We've gone from only looking at Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Dakotas, and Minnesota to all the way out in Ohio, Michigan, talking about New York State for Master's Choice, and even up into Canada.
Which is exciting, but brings maybe some challenges with it.
Absolutely. I mean, there are a lot of different environments involved in those geographies that we need to account for. And where we may find some hybrids that'll work across all of those environments, we also need to make sure we're addressing each individual environment so that we can maximize the benefit for the growers with the products we're bringing forward.
Very well said. So you've been literally all around the country and even into Canada. So what are you seeing? As you're looking at the future of the Robseco and the Master's Choice lineups, what's there to be excited about product-wise?
Yeah, what's really exciting is kind of the diversity of things coming right now, because as we've talked to our sales guys the last several years, there are a lot of new breeding programs and companies that are entering into the licensing space across a various set of trait platforms. And so, there are a lot of new companies that are introducing AgriSure traits into their products. So there's a lot of diversity coming there. There are products coming from the PowerCore Enlist side. Then there's the Bayer trait platforms that we're looking at. And so just the diversity of everything we're looking at is a lot of fun to see. It's all different ear types, all different plant styles, plant heights, plant maturities, health, et cetera. It's a lot of fun.
You mentioned several different trait providers there, and I know that there's been, just even in, since I started with Rob Seco a year ago, there's new options, and maybe talk about what the new options on the genetic and trait platforms look like, and why is that a good thing for Rob Seco and its customers?
Absolutely. Yeah. So in the over the course of the last 12 months, we have new trait platforms available through Rob Seco. And so PowerCore Enlist is a trait stack that would be PowerCore, so 3 modes of action for corn rootworm, along with some broad LEP activity, as well as herbicide tolerance to glyphosate, Liberty or glufosinate, and 2,4-D choline. And so the germplasm coming through on the PowerCore Enlist side is going to be really exciting germplasm. We have very few products in the portfolio today with it, but we're seeing just an explosion of hybrids that are going to work anywhere from east to west, north to south. We're going to see a lot of different products coming that have some really nice plant health, good tar spot characteristics, and overall great grain quality too. And then on the Bayer side of things, the Bayer trait stacks would be things like VT Double Pro, Smart Stacks Pro, and we're seeing an awful lot of high performing products coming there through that group too, and really products that fit exceptionally well on the high yield acre.
And so, adding these new options to your portfolio and to the customers, I'm assuming that's an exciting thing. What does Rob Seco as a company have to offer potential customers now that maybe it didn't a year ago in a broad sense?
Oh, for sure. I think we have a product for every acre now. And so that could be the really tough acre where drought tolerance is really necessary, or a product that's going to stand late into the fall because it might be the last field that gets harvested. It could also be for the really high yield where you want to knock things out of the park, aim for 300 bushels an acre on that farm. We also have products that will fit some of those more specific end markets like Master's Choice. A year ago, we were just starting to talk about Master's Choice because that's when we're welcoming Master's Choice into the family. Now we have a broad offering of products that would be nutritionally enhanced silage to our customers, where they can really target on their farm to maximize profitability, either through hauling grain to the elevator with Rob Seco grain products, or by taking some of those acres for silage with Master's Choice products.
Yeah, that's exciting. And you mentioned Master's Choice coming in a year ago, and even since that acquisition, there's been a string of press releases, I feel like, fairly consistently through the last year. Mm-hmm. Maybe talk about acquisitions and why those acquisitions are a good thing for Rob Seco and what they add to the kind of company at large.
Oh, for sure. We've had great opportunity over the last year to welcome in a number of different brands and people from those brands. And so within the last year, we acquired the Grain and Forage division of RUP. We acquired Big Cob Hybrids, not to mention having already acquired Master's Choice. And then most recently, we completed the acquisition of Federal Hybrids. And so there's a really solid, exciting group of distributors and employees that are going to be joining our family from there, which also introduces, between all of the acquisitions, much greater density within our footprint in order to allow for efficiency, better product piles, better product access, and things of that sort that are just going to be good for not just Rob Seco, but also our customers.
And it makes your job so much easier now, having to do more, like the work of like 4 or 5 companies. It's been an exciting time period where I've developed a few more gray hairs, but with those gray hairs come opportunities. There you go. Well, it's definitely, I think the word that we keep using is exciting. And so as we kind of wrap up our interview here, I just would like to know for you, maybe not so much on the actual specific product side or any one type of product, but what's exciting to you looking forward in the next 2 to 5 years on the trajectory of where Rob Seco's going?
Yeah, without getting into specific products like you mentioned, I think what's really going to be a great opportunity and excitement is at advancements time this fall and next fall, probably the fall after, is we're not going to be having discussions about, well, what can we bring in here? We need to fill this gap. It's going to be more along the lines of, we have too many good options. Now we have to start, cutting things that we otherwise would have been advancing in a heartbeat. And so I think really the development over the portfolio over the next couple of years is a great opportunity that we're going to be having a lot of fun doing. And that's going to come through kind of a strategic influx of products coming to the portfolio, but then also a lot of testing that happens on the backside and behind the scenes, where we're going to be trying to sort the cream of the crop out of everything that we're looking at. So I think that's really going to be a great opportunity in terms of where Rob Seco is going, is product performance and product depth in the portfolio across brands.
That is exciting. So Jim, I'm going to wrap up here with you, but I know I've seen firsthand how busy you were this summer and this fall. Corn has been harvested. One, is there a vacation in your future? And two, what does your job look like as you get into winter, and what's the next step for advancing?
Absolutely. I do have a vacation planned between Christmas and New Year's.
Good for you.
Taking the family down to Costa Rica. So that'll be a great vacation. Yes. But
well deserved.
We'll see about that. I have to earn it first.
Yeah.
But between now and kind of the end of winter, my job and the jobs of the product team here at Rob Seco is really to meet with all of our genetic suppliers and our trait suppliers, as well as to meet together as a group to talk about new products, the life cycle of our old products, and then retooling the portfolio to prep for advancements, as well as then introducing those advancements to the sales team, forecasting, and developing a supply plan off of that. And so that's really the next couple of months. In fact, just before this podcast, I sent out 5 different advancements meeting invites to the product team for 5 different genetic suppliers that we'll be meeting with here in the month of December.
So what I'm hearing you say is there's no rest for the weary.
There's no rest for the weary.
Well, Jim, thanks for coming on your podcast and let me pick your brain.
Hey, thank you so much for hosting today.
Yeah, no problem. We'll make sure you guys come back in 2 weeks, and we'll have another Field Ready podcast episode ready for you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Andrew.